Hey, welcome back to Rants and Review. And today we're going to be reviewing Sushi Go by Game Right Games.
Yeah, this is a really fun game. Now keep in mind that they did release this game as a free print and play to begin with, which is really cool. But then they came out with a full version of the game and a really cool tin to keep it in. High quality, always a plus. So the gameplay takes a little bit of time, so we're going to kind of step you through it pretty fast. We've already played as if we've already gone through about 8 rounds. Normally in the game, you're going to get 10 cards in your hand, and you're going to, similar to Seven Wonders, Fairy Tale, and games like that.
Or a Magic Draft.
Or a Magic Draft. You're going to be picking one card, putting it face down, passing the cards, and then once the cards are out of your hand, the person's already played theirs, you flip to see what you get.
Correct.
Certain cards require certain bonuses to be able to perform them. Much like Fairy Tale, pairs are important.
Yes.
Or triplets and things like that. For instance, the Tempura, which I have 2 of on the table, require 2 to even gain 5 points.
Right. Now we're going to go to, I think we should just do the gameplay and then we'll go into how the end of games works. That's my opinion.
Right. So for instance, we would pick one of the 2 cards we have left from our 10 cards.
Right.
Place one face down and pass the other card. Keeping basically in mind what we're trying to build here for our sushi meal.
Correct.
And then basically passing what we don't really want or need.
Right, and before we actually look at our new hands, technically, we're supposed to play our new card, which I have a sashimi, which is worth nothing at this point.
And I have a pudding, which is also worth nothing at this point, but we were playing at the end of the game.
Right. And now we basically have 1 card left.
Which we have to play.
Yeah.
Which for me is a squid nigiri.
And I have a dumpling.
Right. So, when looking at the cards, like I was saying, to be able to get anything from the tempura, you need to have 2. To gain anything from the sashimi, you have to have 3. To gain anything from the dumplings, well, you only need 1. But the more you have, the more they're worth.
Correct.
For instance, 1 dumpling is worth 1 point, just for the whole dumpling set, while 4 dumplings are actually worth 10. A major difference.
Correct.
The nigiri are going to be worth what they're worth. So, for instance, the egg nigiri is worth 1, while a squid nigiri is worth 3.
However,
you can multiply a nigiri with
wasabi, which I have over here. I have wasabi, which makes your next nigiri you play times 3. So I have a squid nigiri under my wasabi, which means that's a 9-point combination right there.
Another thing in the game that's really important to note would be the maki rolls. Maki rolls are based on a kind of worst and best at the table kind of mechanic. The person with the most rolls gets 6 points. The person with the least gets
3.
So, for instance, the way our hands are played out, I would get 1 point for the dumpling.
Well, I'm sorry, correction. What? That's the most and the second most.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah, not the least.
First and second most. We're only playing a 2-player game. The game does house how many players?
That's a good question. I have played it at max, which I believe was 5. Yeah, 5 players.
5 players. So there's a lot more passing cards around and a lot more other people that could be affecting it. So, for instance, if you were to have 3 players with maki rolls, one of them would get nothing.
Correct.
In theory. So, for instance, my maki roll is going to be worth 3 points because I have the second most.
And I have 6, which means I'm going to get the most.
So, 5 for my tempura, 3 for my maki roll, 10 for my sashimi, 1 for my dumplings, puts me right now at a total of 19. Plus 1 for the egg nigiri, puts me at 20, and 3 for the squid, 23. The dumpling does nothing.
The pudding.
Sorry, the pudding does nothing at this point. So each round you basically count up your score, and then you write it down. So I'd be 23.
And I would be 10, 9, so 19 plus 6.
Did you get this 10 as well?
No, I don't get. I don't get any points for that.
Oh, you're right.
Because this sashimi is worth nothing because I only have 1. If I had 3, it'd be worth something. So, like I said, 19 plus 6, so 25 points. And this chopsticks is worth nothing.
Yes.
Because chopsticks doesn't have a score, but it does help you in the drafting portion of the game because you can take 2 cards from one hand, which normally you can't do in most drafting games. It's a pretty cool little mechanic. I like the chopsticks a lot.
Basically what you're doing is you're choosing to put the chopsticks down from a hand to possibly take 2 pieces from a hand instead of 1. So you're choosing, instead of taking a card from the hand that you picked from, you get to have 2 from the other hand.
Right.
It's very specific if you know that there's a lot of good cards in the other hand but you're not sure if you're going to make a pair out of them.
So just so you know what that looks like, I've got 3 cards here, and let's say we're doing the draft phase again. I would pick up, and I'd play the chopsticks of the round before, or
because you
whenever.
knew that those 3 cards were in there.
Right, or just because I was hoping to get more Maki rolls and maybe a good Nagiri. Well, this hand has a 3 Maki roll and a 3 Nagiri, which means I can now take the chopsticks back into my hand and play both these cards at the same time after I pass that. So that allows me to really make my score go up. And it's a really cool mechanic. Now, the thing is, it's got that double-edged mechanic to it, because when you pass the chopsticks, now you're giving somebody else the ability to take 2 cards later. However, late game, later on in the draft, when you have like 2, 3 cards left, it's like, okay, chopsticks, yay. But early game is pretty cool.
Exactly. Now, how many rounds are there in the game?
There's 3.
There's 3 rounds in the game, allowing you to collect puddings throughout the game.
Right. Unlike other drafting games of this nature, after you score the round, every card except for the puddings go back into the discard pile, and the deck gets redealt. Now,
leaving us with our puddings and our respective scores of 23 and 25.
Correct.
So we keep playing 3 rounds, doing the drafting, building our sushi platters, as it were, our meals.
Yes.
And then at the end of the game, we count up all of our puddings. The player with the most puddings gets 6 points added to their score.
Correct.
The player with the least amount of puddings gets -6 added to their score.
Correct. Now,
because how are you supposed to
enjoy dessert if you don't have any?
If you don't have any dessert, no pudding.
Right, you have no pudding. Now, one thing I like about this game is the fact that if multiple people have that issue, it doesn't punish everybody with -6 points. It actually divides those -6 amongst the players. So if 3 people have no pudding, each of them gets -2 points. As opposed to other games where everybody get -6.
And then one person basically stands out as a massive bonus for having at least 1.
Right.
But again, pudding is not something you gain points for in your rounds. That is something you have to think about going down the line. Do I want to build my success at the end of the game, or do I want to get the points now?
Correct. And that's a choice that you can make as a player, whether you want to bank it now or bank it later.
Yeah. So we're going to go into our personal comments about this, whether we belong in our collection, your collection, no one's collection, and then we'll see you in a bit for our closing.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, so my thoughts on Sushi Go. This is a really, really good game. I love the component quality. I'm not a huge fan of tins normally. In this case, still not a fan of the tin. But the gameplay is really, really fun. I broke this out with some non-gamer friends of mine, and they really, really enjoyed it. I broke it out with my game group, and they really, really enjoyed it. It's definitely in my collection, and it's going to stay in my collection for quite some time. Because it's a game that I can pull out real fast and say, hey, we got time, let's just play this real quick. And Sushi Go can fill that niche very, very well. It's not a long game, and it's just a blast. Because I love Fairy Tail and I love Seven Wonders, so Sushi Go is an obvious pick for me. Definitely goes into my collection. The only people I can see not really enjoying it would be those who enjoy highly in-depth strategy games where if your opponent makes a bad move, you're affected by it. Who hate that in other games are not going to like this game, because your opponent's pick can completely ruin what you're trying to do, and sometimes that's actually a valid strategy in this game. So, but overall, great game, is in my collection and will be staying in my collection. So I think that you should pick up Sushi Go. It's a really good game.
So Sushi Go. I'm going to be honest here. I love the game. And my review of the game last time, and my written review, was actually very, very high on this game. It's not going to get that treatment this time, and I'm going to explain why. I gave it an easygoing review last time because of the fact that it was print and play and it was free. This game is not free. This is a final product game. And I have to say, I have a couple issues. Issue number 1, there's no MSRP on the box. That is something that Frank pointed out to me does not help the consumer. It does not. It makes it so that anyone can basically charge whatever they want for it, and then you have to look online to make sure the price is actually fair. On top of that, It did not come with a notepad. This is a game where players have to write down their scores every single round. And these aren't like scores of 2 or 3. These are scores of like anywhere from 10 to 29 or even higher possible. So, I mean, I have a real problem with a game like this where you're paying for a good game. It's a good game. It just, they didn't put the afterthoughts in for things that'll make the gamers more comfortable and easier for them to use it. This isn't self-contained. This is, enjoy this, grab other materials, bring it with you when you go to someone's house because they may not have any extra paper or pens just lying around easy for them to find. On top of that, I have a major issue with one more design, and that is the cards. So, you have beautiful art in this game. Just beautiful, great art, lots of fun. The back of the card doesn't even have the game's name on it. It has the game company's name on it. Not Sushi Go, Game Right. I'm playing the Game Right game. And on top of that, it's got leaves. That's not very sushi themed. I mean, I would have liked that in the final printed version. That's something really nice where, you know, you're playing on the table and someone goes, oh, you're playing like Seasons or something? He's like, no, I'm playing a game about sushi. Explain the leaves. That being said, the game is fun, and I definitely believe that this game belongs in your collection. Definitely belongs in your collection. I don't know if it 100% belongs in my collection. I mean, I'm still on the fence on it, so I'm going to stick just with belongs in your collection. I'll play this game, and I'll have fun with this game, but as it stands, I kind of feel like I'm fine with the print and play that I have. All right. Thank you so much. So hopefully you liked our review and you appreciate our opinions. If you do want to pick up a copy of Sushi Go, it's available through a lot of regular retailers. On top of that, we'll post a link below for where you can find it directly from the source.
Yeah, and I also know that Game Right tends to be available around this time of the year. They tend to have their games at this retail store called Go Games that pops up at different malls and things like that.
Gotcha.
It's one of those seasonal stores that only shows up during the holidays.
Gotcha. Right, well, hopefully you liked the review. Hopefully you're going to watch more, and we'll see you next time.
Tuesday.
A Tuesday.
It'll be a Tuesday.
Yeah, play some games.
Play some games.
Any game.
Oh.
Play my game?
Yeah, we should play your game.
Play my game.
All right.
See you guys next time.